this is what I want to do. I want to apologize on behalf of Wichita State University that I promise you that we've been working and responding on this to this incident since last night. But if we haven't communicated that appropriately to you, that we're concerned about it, we want to respond to it, we want to get to the bottom of it, and if we don't support this kind of behavior on our campus, I apologize for that. If we didn't communicate quick enough or clearly enough.
So when can we expect a statement provided to the students?
So let me go and get working on it with the folks that do that for the university.
Okay.
Is that fair? I texted Joseph this morning just to see how Joseph was, to try to talk to Joseph, and I've not heard back from him.
Rightfully so.
But I'm trying to be helpful. I'm trying to reach out to him, trying to talk to him.
That's just like us coming here and she said, oh, I'll come out, but I'm not going to see you.
Right, you said the same 3 words.
I think it's her job to contact you.
Yeah,
Exactly, not you. Not
If Paige's daughter is coming before Paige the president, then she needs to do that communication.
I can only deal with my actions, right?
Right.
So my actions, I was concerned about Joseph.
You're right.
And so I reached out to Joseph today to try to talk to Joseph.
Okay.
That's what, I can only speak to what I can do.
Okay, what's your position, your role?
I'm the Vice President for Student Affairs.
All right, so at the end of the day, we're all wanting the same thing. She has not said a word.
Okay.
And that is what, I feel like that's what's pissing a lot of people off.
Okay.
That she hasn't said a word. Typically what you would see from someone that hasn't, and even your CEO, like if something happens, he's gonna send a mass email to everyone and say, hey,
Yep.
I got something has happened.
I hear you.
It's undisclosed right now.
Can I sit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sit with you.
It's happened. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna step back, or I'm gonna, you know, abscond myself or whatever term you want to use, and let someone else handle it. She hasn't said a single word. It's been more than what, 20 hours? If I want to go right, 20 hours.
It's not 20 hours yet. Won't be 24 hours till tonight.
It's been longer than that.
All right.
I have a couple of questions. If this was true, both of her parents are educators in schools in Wichita. So what are they spreading in these schools in Wichita? Because her mother is an assistant principal at Northwest. Her father is a coach at Cason. So if their views are racist views, what are they spreading to these students here in Wichita? And then my other question is, her stance was diversity. Diversity this, diversity that. She has not, when it's the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, I'm in there every day. She has not stepped foot in there, introduced herself or anything. So how is my stance diversity?
Okay.
She has not reached out. She's only reached out to certain cultural organizations, but not all.
It's comfortable for her.
Exactly. So it's, you know, that divide there. Whereas when Joseph was president, he reached out to a lot of cultural organizations, not just ones that agreed with him or supported him.
That's really
so the thing is what is she doing to reach out to every cultural organization on campus and preventing this from happening again? Because this one incident, there may be more. We never know. So
they're saying there better not be more.
I know, right? We ain't taking it. I mean, they should have been in office.
No, a couple of weeks actually.
She has something to say.
She's going
Just one thing that I've been concerned about, I talked to Paige a little bit last night, and she said that this doesn't have to do with the Senate, and as someone who's on the 60th session and ran on her ticket, I feel like I was a little bit bamboozled by, you know, the language she was using a bit, and it's just really disheartening because I joined SGA because I really wanted to make a difference, and it feels like no matter what we do, things aren't going to get done, and I'm frustrated about it, and I can't imagine how you all are feeling because this is something that you guys go through on a daily basis where I'm just outside looking in, and I just want to apologize for that. I don't really know what else to say, but I'm sorry.
So, can I tell you one of the things that I'd like us to work on together?
Yeah.
That I don't think we have a good system on campus for reporting hate and bias incidents in general, right? We don't have a good way to do it on campus. We don't have a good response, how we're gonna respond to it, obviously, right?
This is what we were talking about when we were sitting in with Dr. Bardell. This is one of our demands when we were representing we the students. This is what we said, and nothing was being done. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's what's frustrating to me. This is something, what you said right now is something that everybody here has said and has asked for. We asked for a committee that addresses the needs of black students. We asked for money. We asked for investment in black students. And what do we get? Is somebody who can't even handle the phrase Black Lives Matter, because it does matter. It does matter. Nobody cares about black students. This is why we're reminding people. And that is what's frustrating me, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but this is stuff that we've been asking. We've been asking for more support. We've been asking for more diversity trainings. We've been asking for more professors of color in this campus. We've been asking for a way to report hate crimes. I hear it in my classrooms. I hear students telling me, "Oh, I've been treated. I've been told that I'm not allowed to be a cop because I'm a woman, because I am weak." I have students come up to me and say, "This professor said this. This professor said that." I had students come up to me and said, "I was a victim of sexual assault, and this university didn't stand by me." And that is my concern. That has been my frustration for the past 3 years.
So Rexy was there when I met with some of the We the students very soon after the time that you sat in the hallway in March. So we started talking about some of those things already that I had been following up on since that sit-in. One was working on some of the parking situation stuff. One was working on the university committees and more student voice in university governance, so I'm following up on that. I also mentioned at that time that I'd like us to work together on this process for reporting hate and bias on campus. So I have been following up on those things. I apologize and I'm sorry that you've been asking for this for a really long time. I've been here for 4 months. And I'm trying to catch up.
Can we try to push this as a top priority? I
Well,
feel like parking and this don't match up.
I got time. So if there's a group of students that would like, that are gonna be around this summer, no, I mean, I'm here all summer. So I'm really, so I would love if there were a group of students that would work with me this summer with other university staff members about getting some of these things, getting this hate bias issue a system. Is that fair?
Now, Dr. Hall, you gotta remember that you said this.
I am, no. No, you want me to show you the other things I followed up on?
I know, but I said a lot of follow-ups, but nothing getting taken in action.
I don't know what that meant, but.
I guess
She was like,
I just feel like it's important to highlight the fact that there are people in this room and people on campus that for a very long time felt threatened and their lives feel like they're at stake, and this is nothing new. And this incident is not, from what I can understand, the first time this has occurred. And so the apparent feeling of inaction over the last couple of years is an issue. And I understand that you were in this position for 4 months, and there needs to be something done now.
Yeah, and then to tie on to that, it's more than just you as well. It's other administration. They need to get on board and understand that our voices, they need to be heard. Because at the end of the day, we're paying for y'all to be here. Because we're paying your paycheck, essentially. So it's kind of like, why aren't we being heard? Why aren't things being done and completed? Because we're not going to be here for too long if nothing's being taken care of. If we don't feel like our voice is being heard.
Going off that, I have a question from Teresa on the live stream. She says, what does it say about Wichita State? Previously, it's been Muslim students who haven't been supported, now African American. When is this university going to take ownership that we have systematic issues?
That's a good question.
Sound like a question for the president, huh?
She in her office. No, I don't think she's still here.
She left with the
Sorry, man. I'll be very honest. I'm just gonna be so blunt.
What's your name?
Arnold. I'm the vice promoter. Got the F1 out there.
You're a Kappa too?
Yes, ma'am.
Love those Kappa.
Yes, indeed.
I have a degree from Indiana, so I can share the spot where Kappa's were formed, all that kind of stuff.
So this is what and I feel like a lot of people would agree with me in this room. She needs to step aside now, and like.
Or resign.
Unfortunately,
That's
so-
pushing it.
Actually,
That would be a nice idea too. But I want to be considerate because I mean I understand stuff happens, but she needs to take a real back seat and not, just take a back seat. The vice, whoever he is and wherever he is, because apparently, if I want to be blunt, that dude just ran away because he can't handle any heat.
I think he was more concerned about Paige.
That's his damn business.
That is true.
It's not to her. It's to us.
All right, I will convey that to them.
He needs to get in the driver's seat and
Maybe not.
maybe not, but whatever. Do whatever kind of damage control he feels he wants to do, and maybe try and get like 0.5% of our confidence back, which I highly doubt it. Because if he's not here, then shoot. But she needs to take a back seat for real. Like she needs to step aside because the fact that.
Or at least voice an opinion, a statement or something.
How do we know every
She's not
time
gonna do
seriously
that.
matter
Yeah,
happens?
It's a slippery slope.
She's not going to do that.
How do we know every
It's
time
a
serious
slippery
matter happens?
slope.
Exactly,
Why
just run out the back.
Run out the back
Yeah.
because they can't handle any heat. It's like the
This is what
President
she
of the
signed up
United
for.
States saying, "Oh shit, I can't handle this," and then he goes back to the West Wing and locks the door.
Okay. I really wanna work on this hate bias stuff this summer. And somebody says you have this on tape, yes, I have it on, you have it on tape, Demetrius? So, I'm looking for names and emails, and maybe even a couple of students that might help me be point people to get folks together this summer, so that we can get this going. So that by the time we come to school in the fall, we'll have a system, we'll have something online, we'll have a process, we'll know better about how we're gonna respond as an institution, we'll know more about how we might do some educational responses or some other kinds of responses. We could get a lot done in these next 3 months.
Will the president be involved in this?
President wouldn't normally do something like this. You know what I mean? Like doing websites and
But it
that
would
kind
be
of
good
stuff.
if she wouldn't.
Oh, you mean this this president?
I'm
Oh,
not
yeah, we
worried
can,
about Bart.
oh, no, yeah, we can get her to be involved.
Like, what are we doing for this situation right now to make it better?
So what I heard is you want a statement from the university.
Statement from the president.
That's the start off.
That's a
Wait,
start.
which president? This president? Okay.
First of all, she needs to contact Joseph. That is the primary person that she needs to contact. He is the most important person right now, and then it comes out to everybody else, because he has not heard from her yet.
Well, then again, I would say, alongside with that, she needs to release a statement, and the president might at least want to, because, I mean, well, for me, I don't really care about him, just being very honest. But he needs to release something fast.
Yeah.
Because if not, it makes him look like he's more on the business side than actually on our side. Which a lot of people already have that opinion. Not saying I do, but a lot of people already have that opinion about him. So one would be yes, that statement. Two would be she needs to take a back seat fast. Because if she doesn't, a lot of people will not be happy. Like this number is just gonna increase more and more. And what you don't want to happen is where students and the administration have a rift in between them. Then again, it defeats the whole purpose of WSU trying to have like a good attention and whatnot, all that good jazz. It just flies out the window.
What's this office called again?
This office?
Yes.
This is student government.
Student government. Isn't it funny how you always see the same people coming in here complaining about the same stuff? Nothing's being changed really?
So what can we expect something from her?
Will it be before the
Five
year is
o'clock?
over?
No. Because my thing is, if you can tweet and if you can make Instagram posts, but you can't even sit up here and talk to me, that's where the issue lies. Because I done seen tweets where she's talking about dance moms not being liberal and all that mess. But if you can sit in front of me and you have been voted by us, well, probably not us, but if you can be voted in, and reminder, as a president, you're supposed to represent that body. So if we voted you in and you can't even talk to us, but you can make a tweet, that's where my issue lies.
So when I leave here, I'm gonna go get working on getting those 2 statements.
Release on Shocker Blast.
On Shocker blast.
Do they do shocker blast more than in the morning?
Yeah.
Yes.
Every day.
About a predator, about a monkey. Right.
It sounds like you really like them too.
The same way if we have a criminal activity happen on campus and it goes out that same.
I just want to say
same
the
shit.
precedent here, after the We the Students sit-in, there was a release, John Bardo's statement that he released after that was released via shocker blast, and it wasn't like just in the morning either, it came out.
Okay, all right, good. I didn't know that it came out at other times. So yes. So I'm gonna work on that. I will contact Paige, talk to her about your request for a statement. Say that.
She's watching, so she hearing it right now. I know, she watching.
So how would you watch this damn live stream, but she can't
Oh, I'm sorry. She's watching this?
It don't matter.
Well, I hope you heard me. I hope you remember my face. Because
This is what I'm talking about, Instagram,
So she
right now. Yes, she's on Instagram.
She's on social media right now.
this again, like I don't think it's clicking in her head because you ran on a ticket of inclusion and diversity and you're for everyone, but you cannot stand here and take heat. Finally, good. It is personal now, but then again, you're over there watching.
Behind the scenes.
You behind the screen. Behind the screen.
It doesn't make any sense. It's common sense. I'm not even trying to come for you. It's just common sense.
No comfort.
I have a question. I understand the whole statement and everything, but that's just a piece of paper. Like, what is going to be put in action on campus to protect the students on this campus? Because a piece of paper could be anything, and it could be burned up. You know, you can go back on a piece of paper, but what is actually being put in place to protect students, especially minority students, on this campus?
Well, you know, my hope also would be that not only do we have a process or a system, webpage, all that kind of junk, that stuff to make that happen, we also then do a real campaign and we really get it known that you matter. And, you know, one of the things I worked on with student government at Towson before I left was a Not It to You campaign. That worked with student government. We had a great campaign. We had a great website where students could report. Student government was out in front working with us to make sure that it was a inclusive and welcoming environment. So I'm hoping that we'll do the same kind of thing here.
Well, reporting after the situation has already been done. Like, what are we doing to prevent the situation
Well,
from
that's
happening?
part of it, is that the kind of the education that goes with it about what is hate and bias, what is prejudice and discrimination, that we do that as part of all the things that we're doing. Education needs to go first.
So in the meantime, how can all these students file a Title IX case against the situation?
I don't think this is Title IX.
This is
Why
not
don't you
Title
think
IX.
it's Title
No.
Title IX is more of is sexual assault. So this is Title VII, I think.
One of them.
Title IX is sexual assault, chilly climate, all the sexual harassment, those things. Title VII is racial discrimination.
So how do you file that?
Currently, it would be through the code of conduct at this point in time.
So could all of these changes possibly be a project of the Black Lives Matter committee that Debbie was talking about earlier?
Sure, are they gonna be around this summer?
I mean, they haven't started yet, so.
Contact them, they surely will.
I mean, I suggest you read the resolution and see what the actions or steps were. I actually wasn't there for that part of the session, but I heard about it through other people and I read it in the news in the Sunflower. So if there is somebody who wants to speak up about, I don't know who is.
I wasn't here then either.
Ricky, do you want to talk about the resolution? The Black Lives Matter resolution, you want to talk more about it?
Yeah, I just got here. So.
Yeah, Rick can explain, he was there.
So yeah, the Black Lives Matter resolution was stating basically, first and foremost, obviously at the time that it was constructed, this was in the political climate of the national shootings that have been going on with police officers, and so that obviously it was a good time for that to be brought up. So in this resolution, we specifically addressed students on our campus who were subject to lower GPAs for numerous reasons, lack of resources, whatever, what have you. And so this resolution was a call to action to brainstorm off of the strategic planning committee, which was birthed from the resolution, to think of, okay, how can we close this gap in GPAs of African American students. And that was what the resolution was about. The title, the Black Lives Matter, and how it was used as a scapegoat to kind of push it under the rug, was alarming, to say the least, as we were debating this bill that night. But that, in essence, was the resolution. If anybody else has any more specific questions, I'd be more than happy to ask.
Yes, can you explain what the administration did in response to that resolution?
That aspect of regard, I'm not sure. I just know that it wasn't given due diligence. It was, again, pushed under the rug. There wasn't any financial backing to faculty that was put on this committee, and I know that they're not being paid to serve on this committee, so that's obviously, you know, what endearment or encouragement will that bring them to solve these issues. So that was one aspect that administration responded.
Where did we find out who were on that committee?
I was on it.
Who else was on it, Ricky?
Christian Jones, Joseph. I have faces in mind, but I do not. Here, I'll go through my emails and I can get you names right now.
So, Dr. Hall, just looked it up, and Title IX deals with gender and race discrimination issues. Yes, sexual assault is considered a gendered issue, so it falls under that. So I'd like to go back to Debbie's original question, how do we file a Title IX complaint?
So the Dr. Natasha Stevens is the Title IX coordinator on the university campus. Her office is downstairs within the HR suite, you know, in between RSC and the CAC, so that's where you can go and file. There might even be an online form for it, Sandra. I don't know.
Okay.
I have those names for you, by the way. Now it's Richard Muma, Alicia Sanchez, Trey Chippen-Willis, and then former presidents Joseph Shepard, Nancy Loosely, and then Surrender.
You want to write them down?
No, I know. I got invited to a meeting soon after I got here, and of course I got invited to a lot of meetings soon after I got here, and so all those people were at that meeting. But then it didn't meet again after that point.
Actually, we've been meeting pretty consistently.
Well, then I wasn't there then. I went to one where Christian was there. Some of them were there. I think Stella Yang was there maybe. So I don't. So let's talk about process from here. We got a whole list of names coming around. We also have that group that was formed and has been meeting fairly regularly. What do we want to go to that group to be part of this conversation to get it started quicker? Or do you want to all be a part of a conversation to think about how we can start working on a process for reporting hate bias on campus? I'm open to your suggestion.
I just want to clarify something. If we're talking about processes moving forward, or are we going to separate what's happening now? Because I feel like if we just talk about moving forward, we're going to ignore what just happened. That's not true. So there's a difference. I feel like we should talk about what happened last night first and how we're going to move from there, and that should set the precedent for how we should.
So Ricky, before you came in,
right.
What we had talked about is a statement from the university,
okay, talking
about what happened last night, sent out on Shocker Blast as soon as possible, right? And then there was a request for a statement from Paige about last night as well. Were the two things that were the requests that were made for me right now.
Right. And so are they just requests, or you?
That's what I was
make
about to
sure that they happen.
Yes. So here's the thing. I'm pretty sure I can get a statement from the university. I think I can get that. I can ask Paige to write a statement, but I can't make Paige write a statement.
Why does she get the privilege of not supporting students? Why can't she just get up and leave when students come to her with concerns? Why does she get to hide during all this? She's responsible for responding, Dr. Hall.
I think she's heard all your concerns,
But hearing is still talking about concerns.
Hearing is so different from listening. Those are very two different words. If you look in the dictionary, that did mean very different. She stood over there and she said the same line, and I got tired. I cannot speak about it. It is a legal issue. Is all we're gonna get.
And she's not trying to incriminate herself.
She's not trying to incriminate herself. So okay, let me be very clear. So I'm not trying to incriminate myself or my family. So that means you actually knew what happened.
basically.
You've read, I mean, Twitter is enough, it is a good news base. So you stood there and then you read, I mean, you use Twitter, so you be tweeting, because you be tweeting about liberals and whatnot. So, really, I mean, she heard, I don't think she did that. I'm a blunt individual, but I'm very blunt. It didn't look like it. I understand the whole personal, whatever, but that's why I said she needs to take a back seat. Fast.
If there are such legal concerns like that, then she needs to recuse herself from the position while the investigation is going on.
That's what I was talking about.
That's what I said, bud.
You know?
Hey, if you're listening, please do take a back seat for your own protection, since you're not trying to incriminate yourself. Okay?
Excuse me. All due respect, but you're doing Paige's job right now.
Thank you. Which is a problem. Which is a problem.
Okay.
Because we did not elect you.
Yeah.
You elected her. Like she got the job, not you. So you doing someone else's job means that basically none of the people are incompetent to do the job. So get off.
Students not feeling valued, that they matter, that they're in jeopardy in any way is part of my job. And I don't want students to feel that way. And so I see this moment as an opportunity. One, to meet some students that I don't already know, but two, to work with some students to make an improvement in our environment that we wouldn't have had otherwise. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to sit with all of you and talk about this. I'm grateful that I'm gonna get a group of students that are gonna work with me to make a difference in an area that I think we're seriously lacking as an institution. So I can't speak for Paige and what her responsibilities are. I can't speak for what my responsibilities are and what my commitments are.
But isn't our responsibility as students, can we vote out someone that is in office? Can we impeach someone that is in office?
You can impeach them already.
I mean,
if they feel like they're not represented.
I don't know about the impeachment process. I'm sure it's in the journal someplace, but I don't know.
She got into office through the democratic process, so shoot.
So I hear that you're really angry at her, and even as I say this, I know you're gonna get angry at me too. It's her parents that are involved in this, and you could say she should have handled it differently, and maybe she should have handled it differently. But I want you to imagine if it were your parents that were involved in something. So that's what, you know.
Look, like I told her to her face, I understand that first and foremost, your allegiance is to your family. Nobody in this room disputes that.
Okay.
But there's a fine line between when you're stuck in, like, you have a job. The same way the President of the United States, if his family does something wrong,
You still have to speak about it.
he still has to speak about it because he's an elected official. So that whole line of my allegiance is to my family, I'm not trying to incriminate them.
It's bullshit.
Okay.
But that's the only.
You better go, CJ. You better go, CJ.
But even
I feel like the more you bring this up about his family, I would be compassionate and say, yes, it's fine. I can see that she was about to tear up over here.
Yeah.
Fine and good. Take a goddamn back seat.
Okay, all right.
And not, I mean, fine, you don't want to incriminate yourself, but don't look like you don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of people in this room are pissed about. Myself included.
It's
common
but
sense.
this all you can say is okay for this, because you are only one facet to what all of us are here for, and even more broadly, we the students. You just saying okay, and I see this and I see that, and starting this organization, that doesn't cancel out what Paige has done. What I'm getting at is what are you going to do to hold her accountable? Because clearly, us being in here wasn't enough to have her say anything. So what are you going to do in your position?
Just say, because your president is supposed to be versatile. I mean, I know Trump ain't doing it, but it's a good way to start, especially for him. He's not that popular amongst kids.
I don't even know what he looks like.
To be honest, I know.
Dr. Hall, this is going to be a very, 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 very tough time for you, because again, we're going to keep having these conversations, and you're going to keep being stuck in rooms with us if we don't get the right people in here to have these conversations with us. So
Ricky, we're gonna get moving. We're gonna, you know, I have been concerned since I've been here, but especially after I talked to the We the Students group. It makes no sense that we don't have a better process. It makes no sense that we're not being more proactive in terms of the environment that we have on our campus. And so I hear you. And all you can do is hang with me, and that you will see that I'm committed to this, and that together we're gonna make a difference in this area.
I just thought I needed to let you know that, because I can see, you know, the difficulty this is for you to be in this room as everyone's directing all these questions at you. And you know what, again, like I said, you are one facet to this, and it's just you're gonna keep straining yourself if you know the right people aren't gonna be held accountable to be coming here and have these conversations.
We're gonna get the right people to be involved.
It was just a statement.
Have you considered that Joseph may not be responding to you because of the lack of support he has gotten from you and other administrators throughout this past year? How do you think you can make him realize that you actually do care in this situation? Because right now he's probably thinking, why should I respond to Dr. Hall when she hasn't supported me this whole year? That's probably why he's not responding. We don't know if he'll respond tomorrow, a week from now. It's just a matter of support, and you need to prove to him that this is an important issue for you, and that you're not gonna be standing behind Paige. I'm gonna be honest, you've been standing behind Paige this whole time, always supporting her, never Joseph. So right now, he's probably thinking that Dr. Hall is just going to keep backing up Paige, keep pushing the process. You need to prove to him that you are going to stand with him at this time. He really needs to know that, because he's thinking otherwise right now.
So, Misha, that's part of the reason why I reached out to Dr. Marche, because I know that he has a relationship with her.
He doesn't have that great of a relationship with her. It's not a matter of relationships, Dr. Hall. It's a matter of really showing that you care. You care. He needs to hear that you care. Not Dr. Marche.
Okay.
Not anybody else, but you.
So
you need to have that conversation.
I will call him.
I would appreciate that, and I'm sure he would. And I would appreciate, even if he does not pick up, that you leave a message and you show how much you support him, and not standing behind Paige every time. I'm going to be completely honest.
I also believe that with so many things happening, I think July 1st coming, we got guns on campus. We have to change our culture, right? And for me to walk on campus in the evening time wearing black, I don't think I want to do that come July 1st, because we have a campus that is so divided, right? And the culture is going to have to change. We're not looking for a campaign. I was listening to a lot of people before I came over. Campaigns fade, right? We need a culture change. I went to a predominantly white school when I was in undergrad, and there was a divide, right? I didn't feel like I belonged. A lot of these students don't feel like they belong. Joseph said in 2 places they feel like they belong on campus, in ODI and in SGA, right? Or even around their own peers. We need to have an environment where everybody belongs. Everybody feels like every brown person on this campus should feel like they belong. Everybody, right? And until we get that, we're not doing anything. Innovation Campus, we don't care about Innovation Campus. We're worried about getting our education, right? I came all the way from Alabama to come to here to get an education, not to go to Starbucks, not to go to Airbus. I came to get an education, right? And that's the only reason I'm here. But I'm also here to support every one of these students in this room, because they matter, right? Each of these students in this room may be first generation, and I don't know what situations they're in, right? But not everybody. We can't assume that everybody has the necessary things that they need, and we have to. Equity is one thing we need to worry about. So when we talk about funding and decreasing that disparity between GPA, that's important. We can't just blame it on high schools. We can't blame it on what's outside. We need to worry about what's right now, what we have. We're talking about a YMCA spending $2 million on a YMCA. We need to be spending that money on these students.
That's right.
Right? Y'all worried about the wrong stuff.
I barely fill up the Husky.
You feel what I'm saying? Like that is the wrong conversation to have. When you got students on this campus that are averaging a GPA, black students on this campus averaging a GPA of 2.6, and their counterparts are getting 3.1s. Right? That's an issue. That's an issue. And when you want to spend money on stuff, you need to be spending money on your students. And when I'm paying student fees, I'm not paying for YMCA's. I'm paying for students, not for buildings, but for students. And we need to realize that. We really do.
What about if I could arrange a time to meet with the President's Diversity Council?
Can we meet him?
No, wait. You know, there's, so the President's Diversity Council is this broad-based group. So part of what Randy's talking about is systemic change, right?
Systemic change.
Beyond just some of the you know, the glitzy posters and all those other kinds of things. So the President's Diversity Council is the group, there are, I think, 4 different committees that are working on changing the environment of the campus.
Are they working on it because nothing's changed?
Well,
And it's not gonna be right away, but we all have to work together, right? We all have to work as a collaborative group, and we have to be willing to open up, have those conversations. We have to have those tough conversations. This is a tough conversation we have to have, right? And I made a status about it. Like, we're separate, right? And until we have these collisions, we expose ourselves to each other, it's not going to be a campus that's inclusive, right? We have to be willing to have those tough conversations. We have to be willing to expose ourselves to other people. And right now, Paige leaving, that's a bad sign on her part, right? Because she is not willing to expose herself to these individuals in this room. I understand there's legal issues and she might not want to be involved in that, but she has to respect everybody in this room and be willing to expose herself to everybody, every opinion in this room. Because her not doing that, she's missing out on a learning opportunity. This is a campus where we're here to learn, right? And if she leaves, she just missed out. Because this is the conversations we have to have. Everyone in this room will grow from this, but she won't, because she might be listening somewhere else, but that's not the same thing as having a face-to-face conversation with people who might not agree with you. True. And that's very cowardly for her to leave. Very cowardly. And I really don't agree with that.
so what do you think about that as a third takeaway from our conversation? Of finding a time that we can meet with the President's Diversity Council to have these kind of conversations with them. Because that's the group that's charged by the president to make changes across campus. It's also got some funding behind it as well. And so that would be a good group to start having some of these conversations.
So would those conversations with President Bardo be there?
He doesn't normally go. Dr. Marche Fleming Randall chairs
That's another issue. There has to be a radical change, right? He doesn't show up, he needs to start showing up. Like, that has to be a culture change, right?
Yeah.
Just because I see him sitting in there eating lunch in Shocker Hall does not mean that he's engaging with students. He goes, he sits with Benzini, and they eat lunch and they leave. There's no engagement with students on campus. And that's the issue. We can't keep doing the same things. We're gonna get the same result. That's insanity, right? We all know that. So we have to have a radical change. He needs to show up.
Exactly.
He needs to show up.
By not showing up, it's just like what Paige is doing.
Yeah.
He's not learning. That's like me writing a report saying that this is what happened at the meeting, but because you're not there, you're not going to actually feel that experience and interpret it and learn from it and grow from it and make that change.
If he really wants to be transformative, a transformative leader, it's not about those buildings he's trying to build on Innovation Campus.
That's right.
It's about transforming the students in this room and being willing to meet with each individual student in this room. Being a transformative leader is not about like trying to change things outside, right? We're talking about changing people, making people in this room better. And he's not doing that. He's not committed to doing that. And if he was, he'd come to meetings. He'd come to different things. He wouldn't just separate himself from campus.
And this is not a political issue. This is a human issue.
It's not. This is human dignity.
There's no one's trying to stoke division here, and we're trying our best to, very much like the message that was brought up, was to remain united. And that's all we're trying to do. And that's, with Randy talking about the president of the university not showing up to meetings with students, that's a concern. I appreciate you sitting here with us.
Absolutely.
But we would absolutely appreciate it even more if we could have this conversation with the president of the university.
So we have a meeting on Monday morning with all the executive team. So I'll put it on the table, and I will do my darndest to make it happen.
Where is the meeting? Is it free to the public, or
No,
is
it's
it
not. It's not. It's a closed meeting.
Mhm.
So do you want that? You want that forum yet this semester? If I can make it happen during finals, or when do you want that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It needs to be advertised on Shocker Blast too.
You're Shocker Blast.
That's funny because this is the thing though, because he likes to limit voices, right? He likes to have a room with few voices, right? We need everybody to be available here. need everybody to be in the room. Again, those are learning opportunities that he needs to foster. And if he's not willing to do that, then maybe I shouldn't be here in graduate school. Maybe I should go somewhere else. You know, and that's the type of thing. Maybe I shouldn't pay my tuition. You know, there are other opportunities out there. There are other schools that have some great programs.
And junior college.
And you could lose some great students
here.
Some brilliant students.
There are brilliant students here, and they need to be respected.
Part of the problem with Pardo is that, like, alongside with the building, he doesn't understand that those buildings need to be filled up by human bodies. If you cannot retain the number that you have right here, what makes you think that you're going to get any other numbers from outside? And then again, to make it diverse. Mine ain't good. Like, we have, this is a PWI, not disputing that fact. But then again, you still came here with the promise, quote, that you want to make this campus open to everybody. I've been here 2 years. You ain't done that.
I hear that we're failing in that area, right?
Very.
Why don't we have a policy that refuses to allow hate speech? And if we really want to take an immediate action, why don't we take a stand by saying we refuse to let this happen on our campus? Because if we had a policy that said about hate speech, it would serve all students, all parties. I can write something today. So can we see policy reform that's going to affect, so that's a systemic change. I served in the PDC. They have projects, and most of the time is used for Barno to update us about what he wants and hope that we can talk about it and be his supporters. We're not puppets. I think that you are supposed to be our champion. And so if we want this policy, I expect you to advocate for a zero tolerance for hate speech. And that we protect Joseph, that individuals that do have hate speech and do commit those things should be allowed on this campus. Because Joseph shouldn't have to feel like he can't come take classes because fear of someone's parents might pop off on him. He needs to be protected.
That's right.
I have one question. What was your response when Joseph reached out to you about talking with him and Paige? What was your response about like certain issues? What was your response to that? Because I know he has came to you speaking like at concern about how like him and Paige could do whatever. What was your response?
That it was, since they were so close to the end of their term, I didn't think that it was going to be helpful.
So you didn't care?
So you trying to push
No,
away
I didn't. I didn't.
Because so basically, just push it on because you don't care.
It's not that I don't care. It's that it's been going on for so long. It had been mediated in so many different ways. I wasn't sure that one more meeting was going to make a difference.
It could have.
So you're saying you just said you didn't.
That wasn't up to you to decide if it would make a difference.
Exactly.
Joseph deserves due diligence. He wasn't he's still an advocate for students. And that's my concern is that, like Misha pointed, y'all have been waiting him out. People have said, we're just waiting on Joseph Bean to leave. Yeah. And actions like that make it open to think that y'all don't care about him.
That's right.
And so he needs his due diligence. Because again, he is the victim. I'm going to say that he's the one here who was called out of his name. He was the one called a word that oppresses our race. And we shouldn't allow that. He needs to be given the respect and honor that he deserves.
That's right.
And when you have a banquet for the 60th session at the president's house, and you don't allow Joseph to meet and have an exit meeting with the president of the university, that's an issue, right? Like that's a big issue. If you're saying you want to draw the line and start a new journey, but we have individuals. He's a student on this campus, and we have to respect him. He's done so many things. He loved this campus, in spite of everything that he's gone through on this campus. And he still loves this campus. He still tells everybody he mentors, he tells every kid to come to WSU.
He does do
right?
that, you're right.
And honestly, at this point, if my kid, I wouldn't tell my kids to come to WSU because of the environment. Because of the environment. We have to change the environment. We have to respect the people that are giving their lives for these universities. He gave so much of his time, his effort, his sweat, his tears for these universities. And we were just brushing him aside like he didn't even matter.
And I think last night was the last straw because he deserved that space to be himself. He came out last night. That's important. That's important. He came out and he was being unapologetic. It was the one time he was actually being real because it was hard to be real on this campus without being seen as an angry black man.
Yeah.
want a statement on Shocker Blast
No.
ASAP.
Yeah. Maybe before 5 o'clock.
Well, I gotta get busy.
Yeah.
Again,
be respectful. Be respectful. It's okay.
From the president, from her, that would be the start. And then we can get on to those meetings.
And then you'd like a forum, you'd like an opportunity to talk to the president of the university.
I feel like
Not during the summer
I don't think
either,
we should.
You want it within this next week?
I don't think we should be begging for an opportunity. You should be asking us, hey, I need to talk to you guys because this happened.
He does, you know, I know you have concerns, I know that he cares.
He just has a funny way to show it.
Look, that is his relationship with
I
you,
mean, right.
but we don't know that.
Well, we need to make sure that you see that then.
No, he needs to show it.
He should have been on this when this first came out. He should have had
Exactly.
first to make a statement. It's been too long.
You waited
So
too long.
where is the blue book with everybody's names in it?
Yes, you, somewhere.
So then the other thing I wanna say is, I'll send out an email to everybody that's on that list. We'll get through finals,
We didn't get it.
and then we'll have a meeting after that next week. Put your name on the thing so we can work on a hate bias reporting system and what we're gonna do on campus. And then we'll have a meeting after finals to start the process. Is that fair?
I want the policy to be started. I think that I think we all here want a policy that Wichita State does not support or will condone hate speech or racial slurs. And I want it in writing, and I want it fast, because what's it gonna take? All of us to get shot?
Next year.